Hello, welcome back to Pod Popper's Place. I am going to be working on sketches 8 through 1. I am going backwards. That's just because when I put all my papers out and cut them, they stack on top of each other. And so I just started from 15 and went backwards, and that's just how I'm doing it. So you can do it however you want to. You can do it 1 through 15, 15 through 1, or anything in between. And today I'm going to finish up the sketches. I'm going to do number 8 through 1, and this is kind of the layout, the basic layout here for number 1. These are the 3 papers that you, or the 3 pieces that you would have from cutting out your papers with the sketches that Kendra provides in her downloadable PDF file. And then I have already cut out a piece to go here for the little banner. And now I just need to choose some background paper and some sentiments or anything that I want to add to it. It does have a sentiment that would be down here at the bottom. I haven't decided what ephemera I might use. I am using the Not Too Shabby Shop paper pack from last spring called, I think it's called Cottage Rose. I don't know if they still have this or not, but they're ephemera regardless of if you get something that's brand new or a little bit older. All of their ephemera is really fabulous and matches all of their papers that they have available as well. So I am going to get some pieces to finish up this card, and I will show you what I end up with. So I've gathered my pieces, and I did cut a shape out of this background layer because I'm going to cover it up with the green layer here. And I did use an embossing folder. It's not required and it's not on the sketch to use an embossing folder, but of course you always can do those things. And then I'm going to use just this rose ephemera piece, and I am going to use this sentiment that says, "I love that you are my friend." And I did cut the ends off for this to be a banner. I did just do that with scissors, no special tools required. And I'm going to put all of this together. The only thing that I am missing at the moment is that it does show a heart here in this little banner. So the heart, if you had like a heart punch, you could use that, which I'm thinking about trying to see if I do have a heart punch that's small enough to work in there. Or you could stamp it, or you could use a sticker, or you could use maybe a piece of embellishment that's heart-shaped, like from a shaker pack. So there's lots of different ways you could do that. I don't have any ephemera pieces that are heart-shaped that are that small that would match. I do have some heart ones, but they're much bigger. They were also from Not Too Shabby. So I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to cut a heart shape out or how I'm going to do that, but I do like that it's a heart and then I use the sentiment "I love," so the heart goes along with that theme. So I will show you the end result here in just a moment. So for the heart, I was surprised I didn't have the punch, and maybe I do, but I can't find it. I don't know, but be looking through like your older die sets. This was a die set from looks like Sizzix, but I think it's actually a Stampin' Up set. Sometimes they do have Sizzix products, but it's old. Little treat bag, and so it has all these little hearts. And then also this Sizzix one, a little oven, and it had some hearts in there as well. So I couldn't cut it directly out of here because then I might cut my paper because of where it would be positioned at. So I just used this centerpiece that I had cut out of back of this and cut out more center, because if I use this as a layer, then you won't see that. So good way to use, get a lot of use out of one piece of paper. And I just cut out different hearts. All the different hearts, they're similar, but they're a little bit, the shape is a little bit different. This one's a little more uneven. This one's more symmetrical. And so it just kind of depends on, which look you want to go with. If you want something that's more perfectly symmetrical, then that would be the way to go. Or if you want one that's a little bit more whimsical, then you could go with that one. So I think they both look great. I think maybe I'll go with this one. And what's nice when you cut out all of these, now you could layer them so you get a little bit of dimension as well if you wanted to. I did pop up the floral piece on some foam tape, but instead of using foam tape for the little heart, I can just layer them up and then it will give me dimension on the heart as well. So that will finish up card sketch number 8. So this is card sketch number 7. And when I said things were more complicated after when 1 through 8, this was really the one that I was looking at because it is a little bit complicated, but it's really cool looking. I love the design. So it has A, B, C, D papers, and they're repeated. And I have, because it's two-sided again, I have the polka dots to choose from. And I think I'm going to flip these 2 over and use the polka dots and then use my bone folder. It's not really bones. I don't know why we call it that, but I think they were originally made out of bone. My bone folder, and I'm going to just flatten those edges out because I was cutting for the opposite side, and so they're kind of lifted up on the edges. And so I'm just trying to flatten those so that they aren't sticking up and looking a little weird. And so I'm going to use this polka dot side instead. So I think there's a few different ways that you can do this. So we can flip them over and then tape them on the back side like I have done previously, and then trim it before you lay it down. You could cut this paper and just lay it over on top of it, I think, also. So if you wanted to cut this paper at your angle, figure out where your angle is, and then cut that and lay it over, then it would just cover the edges and you wouldn't have to actually trim this. So I think I'm going to flip these over, tape it, and then trim it, and then lay it on top of this sheet. But another time I might try it the other way and see if that works better. I think there's lots of different ways to do it, and I'm sure Kendra's Card Challenge team may have another option as well. So I think I will do what I showed you on the previous video, flip these over, line them up, and then just tape them all together. And then then I will be able to trim that down at an angle and see how that works. So I really like this design, really cool idea, and we'll see how it turns out here in a second. Okay, so I have it all taped down here on the back. Doesn't look pretty, but we're not gonna see that. I do wanna mention that I do have my extra strip here for my sentiment strip that it calls for, so I measured and cut that out. And then, as you can see, if we line up this ruler here, you can get a nice straight line there. So I think, I don't know if I wanna mark it or just put it on my cutting board. Let's see if we can just line it up. Makes me a little bit nervous to do it this way without drawing a line. So I want to make sure and get as much of the pattern paper together. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky to get that angle right. So I think I'm gonna use my ruler and just line up those little corners there. So I'm looking at these corners, trying to line up the corners so that they all kind of line up. And I'm cutting it so that it's okay, and I'm just going to use a pencil. So that now I can see exactly where I'm cutting. have a nice, clean, straight edge. And then we can glue it down on our base paper. And it is, you know, I probably cut something a little bit off because I have an extra edge there, so I'll have to trim that down a little bit, but that's okay. I think that looks really, really cool. And we didn't lose much of our paper there. We're finishing up card sketch number 7. I added this ephemera girl and some embellishment on the side as it calls for in the sketch. I'm using a background that I cut a banner out of to use somewhere else, and you're not going to really see that, although it did give a little bit of an impression on the banner on that paper on the end. Not a huge deal, I don't think, but you can kind of see it if you look. And then I will glue that down, and I do need to still get a sentiment. I haven't decided what sentiment I want to use there. And I wish that I had maybe embossed this back panel first. That would probably be the only thing that I would do differently is emboss that background so that it has some more interest in it, it isn't so plain. But there's a lot going on this side, so I think that that's okay. And so this pretty much finishes up this card sketch number 7, and I will show you the completed result at the end of the video. So for card sketch number 6, there's 3 circles, and if you don't have a circle die set, I found that this one is really great. I had other ones that don't have as many options, and this Infinity Dies one from Hero Arts just has tons and tons and tons. I mean, it even has this tiny little dot here, so which I've never used, but it's nice to have so many different circle sizes and be able to find exactly what you need for these different sketches. So if you don't have one, this is definitely one I recommend. And if you are doing sketch number 6 and you're cutting out your circles, one thing you want to be aware of is that you are needing to trim off some of the edges of the circles on the corners. So you don't want to lay down this paper C until you have laid the circles down first and trimmed off those edges. So that's the one tip I want to give you on paper or sketch number 6. And so I'm going to find my circles that I need and some layering paper, and then I will be back to show you what I come up with. So as I'm getting my layers here, this is the layer behind our card sketch paper. So I do have 2 sides to choose from, and I think I'm actually going to go with a lighter side because you're going to cut out circles, so you're not going to, I don't have to burnish down the edges or anything. And actually this is slightly too small to get a whole circle out of, but we are going to be cutting off the corners anyway, so it's not a problem at all. I'm just going to put it closest to the edges to get as full a circle as I can, and you can see that I'm losing part of that, but that's okay because that will be my corner that I'm cutting off. And so if any of these papers feel like, oh gosh, I'm not going to be able to get my full circle, just make sure you're cutting it as close to the edge as you can, and then use it to cut off those circles. The only one that would be a problem is the smallest one, so hopefully this is plenty big to get a full circle out of. It's super close, but I think I'm going to be able to do it. It's just like right there at the edge. So that would be the biggest thing with circles. And if this one got to be too small and you had to trim it off a little bit, just have it come off the paper a little bit on that edge. It's not going to be that big of a deal, and it would just match the other circles and going off the edge, and it's really not a problem, I don't think. So you can see here's my kind of my 2 bad edges lined up on my circles, and they are lined up so that when I glue it down here on my paper, I'm just going to trim that off, and then you will never even know that there was any edges that weren't perfectly done. I put the circle not quite far enough with the brown paper, so the background layer is showing, and that's okay. It's not a big deal really, but I did want to kind of mimic this circle theme we got going on here, and I'm going to use this corner punch and use the biggest rounded edge, and hopefully this should fit in here. You kind of have to maneuver it a little bit, but it does fit even with the 3 layers. And hopefully, yes, it did cut off that excess that circle part that I didn't want showing, and then it also gives me that round look that mimics the rest of the paper here with the circles. So, okay, I was able to kind of fix that. Not really a mistake per se, but something that wasn't really meant to look that way. And the sentiment strip goes completely across the whole layer here. So I do need to put a couple pieces behind this so that it will lay flat, because we've got these 2 layers here with the circle. And I haven't decided what sentiment I'm going to use. I am just using my face as my background layer. You could add another piece of cardstock behind it, but I thought since I'm using this for my sentiment strip that I would just keep that on the back there and keep that kind of light. So I will finish this up and show you the end result. So it took me a little while to get where I'm at, which isn't much further, but I did round the edges of the card and I kind of messed up a little bit. This punch that I have has 3 different corners, and I think I used the wrong corner on some of them, so I had to go back and redo it, and then it kind of messed up the edges. And so I just took a sanding block and kind of went around the edges and kind of softened those up so that there wasn't any harsh edges that shouldn't be there. And that worked pretty well. I think it's still a little bit rough in some spots, but it's okay. You can't really tell. And so I'm going with kind of a little gardening theme here. Here's a little birdhouse from the ephemera set, and a little watering can that matches the birdhouse. And then there's these flowers, and it has this face on the pot, and I'm not really a fan of the face on the pot. And so I like the flowers and I like the pot, I just don't really understand the face. So I'm going to cover up the face. And I found this sentiment that I had that says "Stop and smell the flowers." And so I put that on a little banner from Kendra's Pink and Main set that she has that helps with cutting out different 6x6 sheets. If you haven't checked that out, that's through Pink and Main, and which is nice because it has this banner that's kind of taller. And you know, some of these banner strips, they're skinny and they're great for the skinny ones, but this is a bigger sentiment, and so it's hard to find a banner that's kind of a little bit taller so that you can get those 2 lines in there and it's not like crazy long. So I really liked that, and then I did a little bit of inking around that, and I think I'm going to finish it off maybe with some enamel dots here, and that will be card sketch number 6. So for card sketch number 5, these are my 3 pieces, and you can tell that they were cut in the cutting template right from each other, like they were from a single sheet of paper, and they weren't like cut from different areas of the paper because they all line up. So they're just basically being pulled apart. If you wanted to mix it up, you could mix it around, but I kind of like this. It looks like a triptych, if you've ever seen triptych art, where you have basically one thing that's cut in 3 sections and then you hang it up in 3 separate pieces. So it kind of gives that same effect. You could also turn it to the other side if you wanted to, but definitely this side is better for the type of sketch that it is. And then you have these 2 different pieces that you have to cut for the background layer. And this one is supposed to be embossed. But I think I might switch it and emboss this one because this is a pattern paper. And I think I didn't really realize that when I was cutting these out. Otherwise I might have cut them differently so that I wouldn't be embossing the pattern paper. So I'm not sure if I'm going to emboss this or emboss that. We'll see. And then this is my background layer, but there is another layer that could go behind it, but I'm just going to use my card base for that instead of adding another layer. And then this is going to be my any object piece up in the top corner. So I will get this all put together and come back and show you what I came up with as my final sketch number 5. One other note on this one, because we have 2 pieces here, I am going to flip it over and I am going to tape them together on the back side so that I have a nice consistent border around the edges. So, and I think I've decided that I'm going to emboss the whole thing. I'm gonna tape this together on the back, and I'm gonna use this 3D embossing folder with these florals on it, and I'm just going to emboss the whole thing. Because this is thicker cardstock, I am going to spray a little bit of water on it first so that it gives the chance for the water to soften the paper and not crack the paper, so hopefully that will work. I will let you see that as soon as I'm done. I'm just going to give it a little spritz with my, try to do that, move everything out of the way so I don't get water on everything else. But give it a little bit of a spritz, very lightly. And here is the reveal. Oh, actually, it looks good. It didn't crack. The tape held it together, and it actually looks pretty good. I like it. I did find that I had a little bit of cracking here in this really deep rose and leaf from the 3D folder, and you know, the line is so prominent between the 2 pieces of cardstock. So I wanted to kind of hide that a little bit, so I just laid down some washi tape, and once again I'm going to wrap that around the ends. I just went straight down the line where the crack was between them and folded it over. It doesn't look very straight. I don't know why, because it is right there on the line, but once we lay these pieces down, I think that you won't really notice that, and these pieces will cover up the cracks from my 3D embossing folder. So I think I will start with the center one first, and then balance the other 2 out on the other side before I glue them down. And because this is such a bumpy sheet here, I think I might use some thin foam tape to pop up these panels, and then I will just glue this flat down on top of that. So this is the final result for card sketch number 5, and I actually really like how it turned out. The triptych thing got a little mixed up. This piece was supposed to go here and this piece was supposed to go there, but you'd never know. I was just like, why are these not lining up? Oh, whoops. That's okay. I really like this. I think it turned out great, and I'm going to leave no sentiment and just make it a blank note card. This is the basic layout for card sketch number 4, and I'm playing a lot with this green pattern floral, which I like, but I'm having to keep going back to this same cardstock because I don't have anything else that matches. And I like this design. I think this is really neat. The center is a 3-inch vellum, so it's quite a large circle of vellum, which is kind of nice because that means you can put a large sentiment in it, and it gives you some area to put glue behind, because with vellum you will see the glue very easily. So if you are gluing a sentiment or other things on top of it, those are the places that you want to hide your glue for the vellum so that it doesn't look messy. You could also put a border around the circle, or because vellum is see-through, I mean, you get that nice kind of light, airy look, and you can still kind of see the cardstock behind it. But you could glue it to a a solid piece if you didn't want to have that see-through look. I have my sentiment cut out, and I cut it out of some heavier weight cardstock in this cream color, and I'm going to actually keep this all together. This is going to be like my shadow piece, and I'm going to try and keep it all together. I'm going to rub down some of those little bumps from the die itself. Sometimes those can be too visible, and I'm going to try and keep this all together because I'm going to just use this piece as like the shadow, but also like take out the letters from this one and glue it on top of here. So hopefully you get an idea of what I mean. So I'm gonna try and pop these letters out as carefully as possible. Sometimes you have to run them through a couple of times to really get these letters to cut well. And then they get these little fuzzy things around the edges. I don't know, some dyes and some papers are better than other. Sometimes it feels like the more fibrous papers and sometimes the better quality cardstock will have these little fuzzies. A couple different ways you can get rid of those is by using some washi tape to kind of carefully, because it's not super sticky, but it will help kind of pull off some of those fibers if you need to. Sometimes you can use a sanding block on the back side gently, even if you're not taken apart yet. It might be better to get some of those extra fuzzy pieces off. I can kind of see there. So, and I'm going to glue the letters on there. So they're popped up a little bit. It gives it some dimension, but I'm not having to cut out extra letters, and really it's just cutting it out twice. So I'm going to get my tweezers and fine tip glue bottle. And I decided to go with He Is Risen because I feel like this card is like a nice spring colors, and that way it can be an Easter card. Or as I like to call it, Resurrection Sunday. So it gives it kind of some 3-dimension, and then I didn't have to like glue just the letters together. I'm just gluing that right on top. So I will let you know how it looks in the end when I'm done. I have my pieces glued down, and if you look at the sketch, these are nice and evenly spaced, and there's just a little tiny center. And I guess I thought that, I don't know, there would be a smaller edge. So I did the edge, I went around and did the edge pieces first, and then I laid these pieces down, and I wanted everything to be spaced evenly. But there should have been a bigger outside edge so that everything would be closer and spaced evenly throughout. So yeah, that's something I would do differently, but I think it looks okay. And here is my vellum piece, and because we have all of this space back here where the die is, we can use all of this to lay down our glue, and then you will not see any of that as we lay it down here on our card. I am going to set that down so that it can dry. I do need one extra layer out here, but I may just use my base of my card for that layer. We'll see how that looks, and then I will show you our final card at the end of the video. And I will move on to sketch number 3. So card sketch number 3 is actually quite simple. I've kind of got a layout here with my colors that I want to use. It does call for a 1/4 inch strip on each side. I haven't decided if I'm going to use cardstock or if I'm going to use maybe washi tape again. Excuse me. I am going to use this die set that says hugs, sending hugs and kisses, sending you hugs and kisses. Thought this would be a fun one to send to my grandchildren and for Easter, and yeah, that's kind of the plan right now. Okay, I'm still on sketch 3, and I just wanted to show you that I did cut my sentiment out of the back layer here. There was not 3 layers. I don't know why I had 3 out. This is the biggest piece, and so I was for some reason thinking there was 3 layers, and there is with all these, but anyway, this 1/4 inch strip, I cut this to a 1/4 inch. This one I thought was a 1/4 inch, but it's not. It's a little bit smaller, but I think that's fine. And I'm going to glue it down to my card base here. So for my sentiment, I am expanding it a little bit. It's not going to be just up in this top little corner here. I'm going to put the kisses on this big part here with a little bunny. And then I'm going to put the sending you up here. And then the hugs and kisses will be here. And I'm just going to cut the end of this off. It'll maybe tuck it under the bunny so that it's just hugs and kisses like this. So, and that will be finish up my card sketch number 3. So I am on to card sketch number 2. I already have my 1/2 of a 3 inch circle, and then this is supposed to be 2.5 inch circle cut in half. This is my 2.5 inch circle. And even if I go to the very edge, just barely, I am short. It never fails that something gets cut incorrectly. So, and I have to have a full 1/2 inch circle here. I can't push this to one edge and then have that hanging off, because I'm going to be missing part of that edge that I need on the card. So I could either cut a new piece of paper, which I don't want to do, or I could just go down a 1/4 inch. And I think that's what I'm going to do, is go down to the next circle size, which is 2.25 inches, and then that will cut out a circle perfectly, and then I can just add that to my card. No one will ever know the difference of a very slight variation on the circle size. So I've got now my circles cut for card sketch number 2, and I am going to change up the sentiment. It's shown down on the bottom strip area, and I'm going to use this as part of a sentiment sheet that came with a not too shabby Cottage Rose package. And I'm going to I cut one of these out, and I'm going to frame that, and then I will give that, we'll use that for my sentiment. I am going to add some distress ink though in antique linen, because this, there's not a lot of, this is a separate, this is linens, something linen from Not Too Shabby, and this is a separate paper pack, Cottage Rose. But this peachy color that's in the linen pack doesn't really match the colors in the Cottage Rose specifically. It's got some browns and greens that are like different. And so I want to make this peach kind of more in line with this, I don't know, greenish brown color here. So I'm gonna add the antique linen to the edges of it and probably to my sentiment as well, so that it ties in better with this background. I use this pattern background because I wanted something kind of more busy, something that had a busier pattern, since these are quite plain. Sketch number 2, I have the half circles inked up and glued down to my bigger piece, and I did cut a circle out of the back, and then I just used a scrap piece of paper to kind of fill that in a little bit so that the center wasn't dropping down. And then I'm going to glue this, and I haven't decided, should I add any ephemera, or do you think that that's just fine where it is? I kind of think there's a lot going on in the background, probably don't really need anything else, but we'll see. And then I will move on to sketch number 1. Right, I'm on sketch number 1, and I've already come across an issue. So my little strip here, it's just slightly short, and I think it's supposed to overlap maybe, or maybe it's just supposed to connect the two halves of the circle. We'll see. Well, how would it be a circle though? It has to overlap something, or it's not going to be a circle. It's going to be a circle with an extra length in it, which would make it an oval, right? So it has to go on top of it somewhere. So this is my 3-inch circle. I am thinking that maybe I would cut it out of a 2 3/4 inch circle, because when I go to overlap this, okay, it is fine when I go to overlap it. So it does have to overlap that. So I do need to make another 3-inch circle out of a different piece of paper. So this was out of our 2 pieces that we cut from the card sketches. So I am going to use probably this as a decorative behind it. And I thought maybe even adding this one, because there's not a whole lot going on there. I could add some extra layers. Okay, so I went through a lot of struggles here. I changed out my background circle. It was already cut from a different piece of sheet of paper that had already some cut out of it. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, you know, where these should kind of line up. All right, now I have those lined up well, and I don't know what happened to my paper E. I was putting stuff away so that I could get more organized about what I'm going to do with this card. And it's not like this is a hard card, right? It's not that complicated, but for some reason it's creating this challenge in me. So I did cut another strip out of similar paper. It's not exactly the same. And I still haven't decided if I just want to go over the middle, if I want to lay it on its side. I really don't like to show seams like that, so I probably will try and go over the middle. And now that I have the pieces of tape on the back, I can gently take this one off, hopefully without tearing anything. And I can glue this piece down. And because I did have to cut it a second time, I just cut it longer, and that way I can just trim off the edges and I don't have to worry about whether or not it's feels like it's too short or too long. And then I found this die, which is actually quite perfect. It's a little bit big, but it's supposed to go kind of slanted like this. And then I cut out the leaves that go on top. And I don't really know, like, maybe they're supposed to just fill in. This is what is it? Oh, here it is. So it's this leafy spring from Spellbinders. It looks like they sit on top, but why would they sit on top? You already have leaves there. Why would you need to sit on top? I mean, other than you can make them, you know, lots of different colors. but I don't know if I'll set them on top or maybe just overlap them slightly because I like the green. I don't necessarily want to cover up all that green, but all right, time for the reveal of sketch number 1, and this is what I ended up with. So this background paper, I was going to use the other side. It had a lot of print on it, but I decided it looked better, just more cohesive with the same as the strip of paper that I used through the center. Now I know that wasn't paper E like it was supposed to be, but that's because I lost it somewhere. And then the sentiment is not a strip. I decided to go with a bigger sentiment and just outlined it, the shadow in black and white, and kind of made it more clean. And I just need to put this on a card base, and then I am done, and I will show you card sketches 1 through 8. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you will come back again soon. I apologize for not getting many videos up lately, but school and work have just been consuming my time, but I thank you so much for spending this time with me. Take care. Hope you have a happy new year. Bye-bye.